All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Landy Pavlon. Alongside me tonight, I have, of course, Justin and Danny.
Yep.
Episode 114 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. We have definitely come a far way.
Yep.
Well, let's get this started. We had a lot of interesting action on track this weekend. Many series alike. We'll start with NASCAR, then we'll talk some F1, a bizarre Grand Prix. I named it Formula Flamboyance because it certainly wasn't your ordinary Grand Prix whatsoever. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And, of course, the Nürburgring 24 hours, or should we say the Nürburgring 8 hours, depending on how you see it.
Yeah.
With all that fog and the red flags. Either way, Mother Nature doesn't play friendly over there in the Eifel regions. European Le Mans Series, we'll discuss the 4 hours of La Castelli, how the Russians conquered France, and how Miguel Oliveira won the MotoGP racing in Catalonia. Well, let's get started with NASCAR, as we always do, with Sonoma. And once again, Kyle Larson back to victory lane for Hendrick Motorsports. I think I'm getting used to saying that now.
Yeah, it's back-to-back, actually.
Back-to-back. It's his third win of the year. His seventh. No, it's his ninth career win. He's just impressive. Honestly.
Yeah, man.
And also Hendrick, if people didn't realize, they're on a streak since Alex Bowman winning at Dover, because then it went Elliott at Coda and then Larson the last two races. So
what that means? In 2 weeks from now, if a Hendrick driver wins at Nashville on the Super Speedway, they will go 1 full month of winning.
Yeah,
perfectly.
Because the last driver to win, other than Hendrick, was Martin Truex Jr. at Darlington, was the last person. And Larson did finish second right behind him.
Mm-hmm. So to think that the streak could have went on from there.
Right.
But still, good performance for Kyle Larson. He had a good car. He started actually on the pole.
Yes, because we had the metric qualifying.
Yeah, he started and won from the pole, man, which is...
Yeah. Yep. He had a fast car.
Which just shows you... like how good this guy is becoming this season.
Yeah.
I think we're really looking at a championship favorite right now. If Kyle Larson, he's dangerously stable on the track. I said this about Martin Truex Jr. a few years back, especially in the 2017 season when he won that championship, that if he continues like this, it's going to happen. And even in 2018 and 2019, it seemed like nothing changed, even with the teams changing. Martin Truex Jr. will always be in the same position. But that's where I'm seeing Kyle Larson now. And maybe he's just getting started. If that's the case, he never won a road course before. Kyle Larson's never won a race more than 400 miles before. He just checked off both of those boxes back to back.
Yeah.
All right. So, Kyle Larson, he ended up winning stage 1, stage 2, leading 57 laps from first place on the grid. It was his 9th career win. In second place, Chase did everything he could, but he just fell shy. Chase Elliott, who led 13 laps, started second. He finished in second. And it seemed like he had a lot of aggression on that final restart.
Yeah, his car was actually loose at the end. Like you saw, Larson was good off the exit, but you saw Elliott how loose his car was getting.
Yeah, Chase tried to do everything to get by Larson. Since he thought he would have the better car, but at the last 2 laps, he just couldn't get the job done.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to see that Chase Elliott was in this position of losing on a road course. Usually when Chase Elliott thrives towards the end of a road course race, you never look back. He's just gone in another universe. But if there was anybody who would stop him, I wouldn't think it would be Kyle Larson. In fact, I think it would have been the guy that finished in third place, Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. Started 19th. He finished third, and I'm sure he is one of a few guys that I'm about to read out that wish there would have been, a qualifying session, because they would have started up front, and it would have made a difference maybe at the earlier stages of the race. How about Joey Logano? Logano led 5 laps, started 13th, brought it home 4th. Kyle Busch, he led 2 laps, started 5th, finished 5th. This is the other guy who I think would have done better had there been a qualifying session. Kurt Busch. He started in 30th based off the metric qualifying system that was used to set the field. Kurt led 8 laps and finished 6th. What could have been different had Kurt Busch, had Martin Truex, and those drivers had the qualifying time trial session like we usually have.
I don't know, because I know they would be good, but the thing is, Hendrick is just better at qualifying too. Like Hendrick, the races that qualified, Hendrick was fast in qualifying. That's the thing. Like Hendrick Motorsports is fast in qualifying. Like they're fast in quali, they're fast in the race, even with qualifying. So it would have still been tough anyway, but they would qualify better. But the Hendrick cars are just more
they're more consistent.
Yeah, they have all all their 4 cars are doing good. Like Byron's doing good. Also Alex Bowman, like their 4 teams are really good. Joe Gibbs has 3 cars doing good. Their other car, Christopher Bell's been inconsistent recently. So it's basically Hendrick, all 4 cars are more consistent. So that really helps the Hendrick Motorsports because all 4 cars are doing good, not just or it's not like Stuart Haas's situation with 1 good car and the other 3 just back there. Yeah.
Well, that's a good take, I'd say. But then again, this is a road course. It's a unique one. Sonoma, I mean, your team is going to give you the best equipment as always. But in the end, I think it really came into the hands of the driver. Kyle Larson, first of all, this was kind of a home race for him. Yeah. Mind you, this was the first race in California Cup Series event since early March of 2020. And it feels like, I don't want to say the F word, but it feels like, how many years have passed since that last race, even though it's been over a year ago. That shows you how much, the fans, especially the fans in California, we know the race at Fontana was lost. They weren't ready, I guess, but Sonoma, great to see them back.
Yeah, and also, there was a decent amount of fans, and it was an interesting race.
It's 30% crowd.
Yeah, it's better than 0.
And certainly better than no race at all, like last year.
Yeah.
7th place, Ross Chastain, another driver who has really upped the game this year. He started 29th, another top 10 for Ross.
Well,
Denny Hamlin.
Well, Ross did kind of was kind of a bulldozer at one point.
Right. He was certainly unapologetic out there. I don't know about the other drivers, but I mean, some of the guys behind him were somewhat of a bit aggressive. Denny Hamlin was kind of aggressive. He didn't have the best car, but he started 4th. The points leader led 2 laps, finished 8th. And you know what? Looks like Denny Hamlin's points lead is slowly shrinking. We'll talk about that when we look at the standings. 9th place and 10th place could have ended up out of the race because of the way their cars look. Alex Bowman, who started 7th, and Ryan Blaney, who started 11th.
Well,
9th and 10th.
Yeah, and you saw how Alex Bowman, remember, he hit Alfredo at one point, and he was in that wreck that Chastain caused. I thought he was done, but he still finished 9th with that destroyed car. You saw how much damage there was on that nose. He still finished, which
unfortunately,
was
William Byron was not so lucky. He ended up out of the race after leading 5 laps and starting 3rd.
Yeah.
Credited with a 35th place finish.
Yeah.
In 26th, Scott Heckard, who started 35th, picked up his career best finish in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Yep.
And in 30th place, Kentucky's Ben Rhodes made his NASCAR Cup Series debut driving a Chevrolet prepared by Spire Motorsports. He started 31st, finished 1 spot better on the lead lap. All right, so here's what the standings will look like as we go into the week off for the All-Star race. They'll be back, of course, which round 17 of 36 will be the inaugural Nashville Super Speedway 400, the Alley 400, for sponsorship reasons.
July 19th. July 20th.
June.
July.
We're not in July yet. We're not talking Silverstone. That's a Silverstone race week.
No, I just saw it's because my calendar, instead of saying.
Well, June's going to feel like July because this one usually flies by fast.
No, it's because the date, it's in the middle, on my calendar on my computer. It's 6-7-2021. I thought it was saying July 6th, but we're June 7th. No, we're not in July.
Well, British calendar would say otherwise because the second number would be the month.
Yeah.
Here's the standings, by the way. Yeah. So, like I said, Denny Hamlin's points lead has actually shrunk because of how Kyle Larson. You know what? Kyle Larson, he won 5 stages in the last 2 races because the Coke Center had a 3rd stage. So Denny Hamlin went from nearly putting 100 points over everybody a few weeks ago to now being under 50 points in front. Denny
Yeah.
Hamlin's points lead is now 47 points over Kyle Larson. He has 664 points, while Larson has 617 points.
Oof.
Chase Elliott up to third. He's minus 73 with 591 points. Fourth place, William Byron drops a spot.
But
He's minus 100. Fifth place, Joey Logano with 548 points. Sixth place, Martin Truex Jr. with 527 points. Kyle Busch moves up to seventh with 520 points, with 509th points. In eighth place, Ryan Blaney. Kevin Harvick steady in ninth with 483 points. He can certainly do some catching up. And Brad Keselowski drops to 10th in points with 473.
Yeah. And also,
so, three road courses down. Justin, I know you were saying something.
But I was about to say about the race, if people didn't watch it because people are too cheap to get FS1. Some people just complain to put on Fox. But, yeah, Ross Chastain. Remember that Wreckford 14 laps?
Is it me or is it Justin that's freezing? Okay, there you are.
That was me. Like the race, remember with 14 to go, Ross Chastain bulldozed into Corey LaJoie.
Yes.
That caused that chain reaction where many cars had damage. Also, this accident was kind of weird. Ryan Preece re-entered the track at the weirdest time, and Cody Ware couldn't see him. People were actually blaming Cody Ware. I'm like, Ryan Preece was the one getting back on the track at the worst time.
Cody Ware was committed, and at that point it was too late.
Yeah, and I'm like, I thought it was like, oh, Cody Ware got into the barrier. At first, he didn't see a replay until we saw Preece, the replay of Preece going off, and then
I think honestly, there's the one thing that was certainly notable. Eric Almirola has another abysmal performance in this race. His 2021 season has been anything but a good one. In fact, let's just say it's 2020 for him and 2021 for everybody outside of his team. Well, Almirola, 27th.
No, he's 28th in points.
No, in the race he finished 27th.
Yeah, but
Cole Custer at least got a top 20, but at that at the same time he's driving for Stewart-Haas Racing.
But you're looking at how the points are. Harvick's ninth, okay. Chase Briscoe's 26th in the points. He's the second highest, and he's a rookie. Then you got Custer 27. Eric Almirola is 28th in the standings.
And if he somehow finds a way to victory lane and then falls out of the top 30, he won't make the playoffs.
Yeah, because you got to be in the top 30. Like Michael McDowell, he got to win. He's still 16th in points. McDowell is still in points.
At least you're somewhat safe over there. I mean, if you're
Eric's.
I mean, listen, maybe Nashville Super Speedway could sue him. Let's not forget, Eric Almirola has raced at that track before in other series, of course.
But we'll have to see.
That's a distant memory.
Yeah, but we just have to see how Stewart-Haas actually brings a good cars. Because it's always like this thing with every 4 years they struggle. Like 2016 they did good. They went to struggling in 2017. It's the same thing. 2020 they had a good year. It's like 2021 they struggle. It's like they always have 4 years. After 4 years of success, they struggle a year, which is interesting.
But give it 2 years in between, like 2014 before 2016. Kevin Harvick got them a title. 2018 after 2016, nearly a championship. He was honestly one of the best drivers all year long. The system was so flawed that he wasn't able to win the championship. But either way, it was a great season.
Yeah.
But I think what we're going to find here is that Kyle Larson, I think Hendrick Motorsports, they're in control of the standings. They're in control of the series.
Yeah, it's not just.
I don't want to make it sound like we're witnessing a Mercedes monopoly here, but
but it's not also just Alex. It's not just also
four
Kyle
cars
Larson.
just driving so good right now.
Yeah, it's not just Kyle Larson because you got Chase Elliott. He's up front in points, same as William Byron. I know Bowman's a little bit down in points, but Alex Bowman recently has been getting good finishes. Alex Bowman has 2 wins at one of the tracks that he won was Dover, which he's good there. But he won at one of his worst tracks, Richmond. Remember he won at Richmond? That's one of his worst tracks. Remember a few years ago he used to get like 20th at Richmond?
Yeah. And you know what? That one wasn't really supposed to be his. He got that last caution to go right his way.
But he still was up there. At Dover, he had a fast car. All 4 Hendrick cars were fast that week, and that's when they got the 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the first time Hendrick got a 1 through 4. They swept the top 4 at Dover. Remember that top 4 sweep for Hendrick? Alex Bowman had a better stop than Larson, and
that made the ultimate difference.
But still, it's like Hendrick is consistent. Their drivers are consistent. The crew's bringing good cars.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, because we have the All-Star weekend coming up, which is at Texas Motor Speedway. Texas Motor Speedway will be site of one of the last few races of the year. Yeah, that 500-mile race in the fall, which, by the way, you don't have the spring 500-mile race to practice with anymore like you do in the past. I know the track conditions are different.
Hey, the Allmendinger scored.
I know. I have a TV right there. But I'm trying to say, Justin, Danny, is that like the whole situation is that it doesn't matter about the track conditions, whether it's in the fall or summer. You don't have that 500-mile race in Texas to help you prepare for when it really counts.
Yeah, because that Texas race, the next Texas race, like for the points, is the first race of the round of 8 before Kansas and Martinsville, because Kansas is now a week later.
Yeah, Kansas and Texas will updates. Hopefully that makes Mother Nature shut up. I could have Joe Biden say, "Why don't you just shut up?" That was me talking to Mother Nature last year when we went from Sunday to Wednesday night to just complete 500 miles and 334 laps at Texas. It was that crazy.
Well, we're on lap 52. We completed 52 laps on Sunday.
It felt like we still had the other 334 laps to go. It was that crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about, before we move on to the Xfinity Series race weekend at Mid-Ohio, let's keep the Sonoma topic alive here and talk about the companion race that happened out west in the West Series, their first race since all the way back in early March this year, March 12th at Phoenix. They have a 9-race tour. This is round 2 of 9. And the General Tire 200 at Sonoma Raceway in California ended up being won by Chase Briscoe, the 2016 ARCA champion, got his first win in the West Series by leading all 51 laps in a Ford prepared by Chad Bryant Racing.
Yeah,
great run for Chase Briscoe on Saturday when he took that win. Second place went to Dylan Lupton. Dylan Lupton, who has been a veteran in the lower series for quite some time, drove for Bill McAnally Racing, brought it home second. How about Paul Pedroncelli Jr., who started 14th and brought it home third? Cole Moore for Bill McAnally Racing started 10th, finished 4th. And 56-year-old Todd Souza, who he was nearly the only driver to lead a lap besides Chase Briscoe from the opening lap before he had to pit unexpectedly for a tire rub, brought it home to 5th. He started 2nd in this race, and we'll take the points lead. We'll get into that in a minute here. Dean Thompson finished 6th in the Huddleston Ford. Jake Drew for Bruncotti's team started on pole. He finished 7th. Bridget Burgess for Sarah Burgess's team finished 8th. Travis Philpott and Bobby Hills Jr. rounded out the top 10. Let's take a look at the point standings. So we have 2 races in the bag. And Todd Souza is the points leader because, mind you, the first race was actually a combination race with the national level ARCA Menards Series at Phoenix. So a lot of the guys that were there for race 1 that were sitting on top of the points board weren't there race 2, especially with the fact that we had the main ARCA Series race in Mid-Ohio that weekend as a sideshow to the Xfinity Series race that happened on Saturday. But for the ARCA guys, it was a great showing on the west side. Todd Souza has the points lead, 1 point over Paul Pedroncelli Jr., 75 points for Souza. Pedroncelli Jr., 74 points. Cole Moore is 3rd with 72 points. Dean Thompson 4th with 67 points. And Trevor Huddleston is 5th with 66 points. And Justin, you can confirm that last year's champion, Jesse Love, for Bill McAnally Racing, will compete for the full season.
Yeah, and also Paul Pedroncelli Jr., his nickname is PJ. Like on the ARCA website, his name's PJ. That's his nickname. Yeah, that's his nickname.
He's from Sonoma, California.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can run the full season, though.
Wait, is Paul Pedroncelli, is these fodder or something? I don't know.
His father was in the
Okay.
race. The father and
Okay.
son combination.
Okay.
They're right from the block in Sonoma, California.
Yeah, like some of these people, like there's some people that, like Jesse Love, he's running the full season. Trevor Huddleston's also running the full season. Jake Drew also in the 9.
Yes.
Cole Moore in the 99. So basically, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, their next race for ARCA West is Irwindale on July 3rd weekend. July 4th
I think
weekend.
that weekend we're going to really see who's going to be the best contestants for the West Series trophy by the end of the year. And you know what? Yeah, I understand that most races will have an average of about 15 cars per race, but the first 2 races, Jesse Love didn't do well. But at the same time, think again, you can't finish as far back. But then again, who's going to shine? We haven't seen anybody come out of the roots and grow their own tree in the series, but we'll find out sooner or later. All right, let's talk about one more ARCA race before we head to the Xfinity Series. So we'll get into the Mid-Ohio conversation here, and once again, Ty Gibbs goes to victory lane. Just been another impressive outing for Ty Gibbs. He won the Mid-Ohio Dawn 150, which was round 7 of 20. So we're 3 races away from that halfway mark of the season.
Yeah.
And Ty Gibbs has won 5 out of the last 6 races.
Yeah, and also
4 races in a row. And he's now the points leader. Takes it over by 1 point over Corey Heim.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's only 1 point because the reason it's not more, Corey Heim's consistent. That's the thing.
Very, very.
Corey Heim.
That's his first non-podium finish of the year, 7th place.
Let me go. Let's
go over the race results first as Justin does this research. So, in the end, it was.
Wait, what?
After 150 miles, it was Ty Gibbs who led 35 of the 42 laps. Austin Hill for Shiki Hattori finished 2nd. Tab Moffitt 3rd for Johnny Gray and DGR.
Whoa.
Brandon Jones led 4 laps for Venerini's team. He finished 4th. Started 3rd. Nick Sanchez 5th. How about Stanton Barrett, a 6th place run? Corey Heim 7th. He led 3 laps. Chris Wright finished 8th. Arnaut Koch 9th and Kyle Seek 10th. Russ Lane, Drew Dollar, Tim Richmond, Owen Smith, Tony Cosentino, Brad Smith, and Mark Green were the finishers of the race.
Wait, you said Corey Heim was 2nd in points?
Yes,
according to Racing Reference, he's ahead by 1. Gibbs is 2nd by 1.
You have to look through Wikipedia.
But
Racing Reference doesn't update the points. I know.
No, it is updated. 7 races. It says 7 races, 2 wins, 6 top 5, 7 top 10s, 1 pole.
I'll say the stats, but it doesn't say the points. I had this hiccup before.
But it says 353 to 352.
Flip the drivers because it says Ty Gibbs here. Either way, it's still a close battle.
But
Tab Moffitt, though, he's way far back in 3rd.
He's not that far back. 45
points.
308 according to this. 45. Jeez. Yeah, it's I don't
Nick
know.
Sanchez and Drew Dollar round out your top 5. So they're going to have about this week? Yeah, they'll have the weekend off, and they'll come back for Pocono, be part of the Cup Series weekend again. All right, so that's pretty much it for the ARCA discussion.
But also about Corey Heim, why he's still up there. His worst finish is 7. Other than that, it's been 1st, 2nd, or 3rd his finishes. Corey Heim's stats. According to ARCA's Wikipedia, Corey Heim is the points leader according to now. All right,
doesn't matter. Well, you get the point. There's 1 point of difference. Let's go ahead and talk about the Saturday Xfinity Series race. This is going to generate a whole new discussion now. So this race was round 13 of 33. So, of course, we're in the second third of the season already, early on, of course. And A.J. Allmendinger becomes the first 2-time winner at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course after leading 23 laps, winning stage 1 and starting 12th. A.J. Allmendinger picks up his 7th career win and his 2nd of the year. And his teammate, Justin Haley, who won stage 2 and led 7 laps, started 10th to finish 2nd. Ty Gibbs led 16 laps after starting second and finished third. So the Joe Gibbs Racing streak of road course wins comes to an end. Brandon Jones started and finished fourth, and Andy Lally, who started 27th for the fourth time, picks up a career best finish of fifth. Brandon Brown started and finished sixth. Michael Annett started 15th, finished seventh. Josh Berry finished eighth after starting 31st in car 31. Ninth place went to Ryan Sieg, who led 2 laps and started 23rd. And Josh Williams rounded out the top 10. Austin Cindric led 30 laps from the pole with metric qualifying. What happened to Austin Cindric? We'll discuss that in a minute, because 19th place, a career best finish of 19th, Matt Jaskol, who started 34th. Great run for Matt Jaskol, who actually ran a handful of Indy Light starts. Maybe the open wheel experience kicked in to a top 20 NASCAR finish. What happened to Austin Cindric?
I think he went wide, if I remember.
So he was up front leading. A late race caution comes out. On the restart, AJ Allmendinger makes it 3 wide, sticks, and at that point, Austin Cindric is on the outside facing the grass. He's not spinning yet, but then they go 3 wide. I think it was Brandon Jones who clipped somebody that got into Austin Cindric and sent him for a flyer in the grass. And he managed to come back to 14th, but in the eyes of Team Penske and Austin Cindric and all his fans, that really was a missed win for sure. Can't win them all.
Yeah.
So, they'll be back this weekend. We have the Xfinity Series race for 250 miles at Texas Motor Speedway. And after 13 races, Austin Cindric is still the points leader. In fact, he has a very good gap over everybody else. Cindric has almost 100 points on everybody. If AJ didn't win that race, if Austin Cindric won, he would have capped 100 over the field with 558 points. Now, Allmendinger is second with 462 points. Daniel Hemrick, who had a bad ending, ended up down to third. He's tied with his teammate third and fourth. Hemrick and Harrison Burton, 437 points. Jeb Burton is fifth with 419 points. Justin Haley is sixth with 401 points. Justin Allgaier climbs up to seventh with 395 points. Brandon Jones climbs up a few spots as well. He's up to eighth, 345 points. Jeremy Clements, ninth with 334 points. And Michael Annett moves back into the top 10 with 326 points. And it's not getting any better for the guy that's 11th, Noah Gragson, either, who just seems to have one race good, and like 2 or 3 races later, everything that can go wrong goes wrong for those guys.
Yeah.
Noah Gragson completed an amount of 0 laps, which is very unlike him. So, Texas Motor Speedway might be a good place, unfortunately, with some bad memories, because if you're in the eyes of Noah Gragson, you see victory lane in sight, and then 2 seconds later, you see the back end of a 20 Toyota Supra crossing the line in first place of Harrison Burton.
Or in the first race you wreck someone, and then a lot of fans hate you. You know what happened at the first race at Texas when
he took out his hometown buddy Riley Herbst.
Yeah, and the fans didn't like him. Some of the fans just like, nope. Why? Because it's gonna be
you know what? Maybe we can see things turn around, but just not been the year for Austin. Noah Gragson.
I was about to say Cindric's leading the
No, I don't know where I'm going. My mind was in 2018 for a hot second. But let's move on to some open wheel racing, shall we? And hopefully wherever Danny is, he's back, because we're about to talk some F1. Let's get into some Formula One, shall we? The Azerbaijan Grand Prix, won by Mexico's Sergio Pérez out of Mexico, driving for Red Bull Racing Honda. Huge win for Red Bull. It could have very well gone south. Many times they had close calls, but in the end, it was Checo taking the win. His second career win, mind you. Sergio Pérez led 8 laps. He started 6th. This was not only his second career win, but his 11th career podium. 51 laps were complete. We had 2 races, essentially. The second race just was 2 laps.
Yeah.
Thanks to a late race red flag. Second place, how about this? Sebastian Vettel finished P2. He led 4 laps, started 11th, his 122nd career podium. Nice to see Vettel back on the podium. And not just that, Aston Martin Racing, Formula One, best ever finish in a Grand Prix of second.
Well, that's just because of the circumstances. They would have been like 4th or 5th.
Right, but either way, take it.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're probably not going to do that at Paul Ricard because Paul Ricard that's a boring track for F1.
It's a boot camp for everybody else except for Mercedes.
Mercedes like my field. That's how Paul Ricard works every year. It's like only other people
as can be.
Well,
let's just continue with these results. So, third place, Pierre Gasly, third career podium. Gasly started 4th. A great run for the French driver. 4th place, Charles Leclerc, who led 1 lap after scoring his 9th career pole, but still just couldn't make it to the podium in his Ferrari.
But the Ferraris were good at qualifying, but they didn't have race pace still. They have qualifying pace, but they need race pace too.
Exactly. Lando Norris, 5th. Good run for Lando Norris. How about Fernando Alonso, 6th place finish for the Spaniard. The 2-time world champion, Fernando Alonso, 7th place. Yuki Tsunoda, the Japanese driver who started 7th, picked up his career best finish in Formula One. And AlphaTauri, double points. 8th place, Carlos Sainz Jr. started 5th. He had a rough weekend after that crash in qualifying that nearly ruined it for him. Brought it back, and Ferrari gets double points as a result. 9th place, Daniel Ricciardo started 13th, gives McLaren double points. And how about Kimi Räikkönen, the 2007 world champion, brings it into the points for the first time in 2021.
Yeah.
Antonio Giovinazzi started 20th, dead last, finished 11th.
Yep.
Valtteri Bottas started 10th. He never got the points he needed, and that's going to really hurt him in the Drivers' Championship. Bottas comes home 12th. Haas F1 drivers Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin finished 13th and 14th after starting 17th and 18th. Both drivers pick up career best finishes.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton, who looked like he had a great chance to possibly sneak the win back after the red flag, leading 9 laps, starting 2nd, messed up turn 1 on the final restart.
Yeah.
And he has to settle for 15th, scoring no points.
Yeah. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, his brakes kind of didn't want to slow down. He was slowing down for the corner, and the brakes nope.
Cold-blooded brakes.
It's like his brakes are like, nope, I'm not going to brake. Nope, you'll go off, and we'll let Sergio win the race or something.
And if you would have seen Mark Webber's reaction, you would laugh your ass off.
I've seen it. Oh, my God.
I think he works for F1 TV, like the alternate feed.
Yeah, I heard it, and he just his scream. He
would never get old.
Yeah, like I just remember watching that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like,
that was just incredibly shocking. I thought that Hamilton had a great shot to win the race,
but it's just like,
or at least get the points. If he didn't win, he could take a great point stay out of that.
But
so Verstappen.
Yeah, but we still have other people. We have Nicholas Latifi. Oh no, not Latifi. Russell finished 7th. I know Russell finished out at the end. Remember, Russell was there, and then he just was not there. So
Latifi finished 16th. Russell 17th.
Yeah.
Russell and Verstappen finished out of the race. But they were classified because of the 90% distance rule.
But it still said, didn't say running, because it said basically accident. Because
Exactly. Max Verstappen, we're going to talk about him in a minute because this is going to generate a big discussion, I'm sure. Lance Stroll was involved in a similar accident to Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
His tire blew out on the front stretch on lap 29, taking the young Canadian out of the race.
Yeah.
And last place was young French driver of Esteban Ocon. His Alpine Renault turbocharger came to an early end on lap 3.
Ooh, that's a world class engine. 3 laps. We thought the Honda engines were
The
bad.
McLaren Honda was that bad.
This car, like the engine didn't even last 5 laps. 3 laps.
Man, listen, Renault is not looking good this year.
Well, they are with Alonso. Alonso has less engine issues, but Ocon just they're like they're hoping
There's no luck.
Yeah, but hopefully they have luck next race because they're heading to their home track. Alpine and Renault are a French company, and they're going to Paul Ricard in France. So they're hoping that those issues are not happening at their home track. Yeah, but Max Verstappen, yeah, it was not a good day for him. It was looking positive, leading the race, just solidly running in the lead, pulling away. What, on lap 46? 6 laps left of the Grand Prix, a left rear tire cut, and end up spinning his car into the wall and destroying the car.
That was as cruel as it could be.
You want to talk about a gut punch? That's what you call a gut punch right there, people. That was just such a heartbreaking.
Max had everything. He had everything ready to get out of there with a great points day.
He literally had this race won.
Yep, but the tire just gave out.
Let's go back to Lance Stroll's crash for a minute.
Yeah.
Because Stroll was on the same part of the track when his tire gave way.
Yeah.
We know people are going to point fingers. That's going to be a given.
Yeah, but
is this on Pirelli? Is this on the layout of a street circuit in Azerbaijan? Is this something that, or is this just motorsports and we have to accept these things can happen?
But there's also another thing: is it the driver pushing too hard? Because sometimes
there's another one.
Because maybe Lance was pushing too hard, and when he blew his tire, maybe same thing with Max because it didn't happen to any other drivers. All the other drivers didn't have blowouts like that. Only Lance Stroll and Max were the two. Maybe they pushed it too hard when they blew their tires. Maybe they pushed you don't want to push your car too hard. I know you want to pull away from the guy behind, but
you're maintaining pace. It looked like Verstappen wasn't really doing anything crazy.
But he might have done something early on. Maybe he pushed it way too hard early on.
That's very possible that those things could happen. It's part of racing.
Yeah, like tires. Pirelli's not supposed to have perfect tires. You're never gonna have a perfect tire brand. It's like Goodyear and NASCAR. They're not perfect.
No, and Goodyear has their bad flaws. You see their gas. Indianapolis Motor Speedway a few times.
But you had their tire war when you had Leo Mel and charged in 1988. Oh, jeez. Leo Mel was not a good person, basically. Basically, he was controversial. Basically, it's like no tire is meant to last and not... It's like the tires have failures sometimes. That's part of racing.
I know, it seems like a lot of people on the internet don't have acting like they've never seen a tire puncture in motorsports before. Which, of course, is not surprising at all.
Yeah, you've seen it before so many times in different motorsports.
Well, luckily enough for Verstappen, after his retirement, Lewis Hamilton had that moment in Turn 1, and he lost all means of getting any points after that. And speaking of Mercedes, this is the first time that two Mercedes cars failed to finish in the points while finishing the race since the United States Grand Prix of 2012.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about cars crashing out. I'm talking about being on the track when the checkered flag flies and not getting points.
Which that race in 2012, if people don't remember, those two drivers were Michael Schumacher and Nico Rosberg. Yeah, exactly. They didn't. Yeah, so it's been that long. That's been almost 9 years since that happened.
Shows you how strong and successful they are as a constructor.
Yeah, Mercedes, but so that's like the points for the top two. It's the same amount.
Yeah, it hasn't changed, luckily, on behalf of Verstappen, but that number could have grown going into the next race, which is, as Justin mentioned, the French Grand Prix at Circuit Paul Ricard and Castellet. That's a track where Mercedes seems to have so much dominance in recent years. Let's take a look at the World Drivers' Championship, though. After 6 of 22 races, because we lost the Singapore Grand Prix, we go down to 22 now.
Right.
Unless there's an announcement of our makeup day, which we haven't heard yet.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen is still in the points lead with 105 points. That hasn't changed.
Lewis Hamilton's still at the same amount also. I don't want
101 points. It's a 4-point difference.
But
all the way down with 69 points. That's Perez. He jumps to third.
Yeah. Yep, and that
Lando Norris is now the sole driver of 2021 to have won, or not won, to have scored points, to have scored points in every Grand Prix since the beginning in Bahrain.
Yeah,
66 points for Norris.
Yeah,
that win might come soon, though. I think McLaren will get their win.
It just depends how Red Bull is. Red Bull, Mercedes.
You have to get by them first.
Yeah, the only situation that could happen, Italian Grand Prix from last year, basically. That race was wide open. That's how Pierre Gasly won his AlphaTauri last year, which was just...
race that McLaren almost won, then driven by Carlos Sainz. Let's look down the points. Charles Leclerc, 5th place, 52 points. If it weren't for the no race at Monaco, or the DNS, he would have probably had points in every race and might be somewhere around 3rd or 4th. But that's not the case. He's still doing good, though. For the race he's finished, he's been on the points, just no podiums yet. Valtteri Bottas, we're going to talk about Valtteri here. He's got 47 points.
Oof.
Podium, retirement. Fastest lap, podium, fastest lap, retirement. Pole, fastest lap, 3rd place, podium. 3rd place, podium, retirement, and 12th. Now he's 2 races without points.
Wait.
We're talking about Bottas here. He's 6.
That is just like, wow. Like, you don't expect that from a Mercedes driver.
Yeah.
That car is, like, literally, you said he is 6 with 47 points. Last year, he did really good last year.
He would have probably been, like, 2nd or 3rd if he had the luck he had last year and this year.
But after really... Like, he was really good in points after a few races. That's just shocking.
He just needs some luck, especially now. Maybe the next race could suit him. Especially, I think the 2 races in Spielberg, when we go to the Styrian Grand Prix and the Austrian Grand Prix, that's going to suit him well.
Wait, so race 6 last year was Catalonia. After race 6, do you know how many points? Valtteri was up in 3rd in points with 89 after 6 races last year. So he has over half of the points that he has. He has over half of the points that he had this last year. Because he had.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, last year we had the mess up schedule, and I think that every race felt like a do or die. I'd say.
But he still had 50. He had 52 more points than after 6 races last year than now. But he has good tracks that he is good at. And
these good tracks are coming up on the schedule.
But
if you're a Bottas fan, you should have some hope.
But Baku, it's one of his best tracks.
He just had a bad weekend from the start.
Yeah, he just couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, never recovered.
It's also
7th place, Carlos Sainz Jr. All but 1 race in the points. Doing very well, 42 points.
Well, he's 7 points, but... 8th
place, Pierre Gasly, 31 points.
Okay, Pierre really doing good.
Vettel jumped all the way up to 9th with that 2nd place finish.
Yeah, but is that going to last?
I don't know, 28 points. Well, it's a good mentality you want to have going into this next race at Paul Ricard. And Daniel Ricciardo, who's been in the back half of the points-paying positions in every race that he's ran, except for, of course, Monaco, where he was 12th. Ricciardo, 26 points. So it looks fine. I think there's a lot of room in the Drivers' Championship that you can utilize to catch up. But here's where it starts to get tricky. Let's take a look at the Constructors Championship now. Red Bull Racing Honda extends their points lead. They now have 174 points.
Yeah.
In second, Mercedes with no points at all, 148 points.
That is 26 points.
That's a very good gap you want to have for Red Bull.
But what happens if this happens? You never know. This could happen at one of Mercedes' best tracks. What happens if Lewis wins? Valtteri gets second, and Lewis has the fastest lap. If that happens, that's most of the points that Red Bull had would be cut a bit.
Cut short.
And it depends where Perez finishes. He has to be in the points.
Yeah, but
no issues at all. And they could be good if they just have to continue doing this.
Yeah, but
every race when they can.
It just all depends how Mercedes does. If Mercedes gets 26 points from Lewis, and then then what's the next amount for?
It depends 18? How they answer.
Yeah, if they get 26 and 18 for first and second, which is 44 points, and then Red Bull gets 20 points,
then I think you'd be in your trouble spots. How about Ferrari? Ferrari is back up to third in the Constructors Championship. They have a 2-point advantage over fourth place McLaren Mercedes, 92 points. Fifth place, all the way down with 39 points, is AlphaTauri Honda.
Yeah,
the points day brought them up to fifth.
Yeah, really good for. Yeah, they did really good yesterday.
Sixth place, Aston Martin Racing Mercedes with 37 points. Now, had Lance Stroll had that 2017 kind of race and not finish outside the points and not crash out, I'm sure we would have seen them much higher in points with Vettel's second place. Alpine Renault, 25 points. Alfa Romeo Racing Ferrari, 2 points. 1 point scored in 10th from each driver now.
Yeah, then Williams and
Haas. The only two constructors left with no points.
But Williams has been closer to points than Haas. Haas is just, I don't know how they're doing. But do you know what Gunther said about the race? He said, the race was good, but I'm in my head, I'm like, Gunther, you had cars messing up at the end. That's kind of how you guys got a good finish.
If they didn't make mistakes, they would not have been in the top 15.
They would have been still 17th, 18th. If everybody would have finished, they would have been in the last two spots, 19th and 20th. Because the Haas cars are just so slow off the pace. Yeah. We thought Ferrari 2020 was bad off the pace. Haas is just it's what do Haas have as engines? Lawnmowers? That doesn't look fast.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I think that's good for F1 discussion. 2 weeks from now, we'll be talking the French Grand Prix at Castellet, at the Circuit de Paul Ricard. In fact, we have another race we'll be talking about that happened over there over the weekend. Later in the podcast, we'll go into sports car discussions. That'll be round 7 of 22.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the feeder race.
Yep.
The feeder series, Formula 2. This was week 3 of 8, so one more week. We're almost halfway through.
Yep.
At Baku City Circuit, home of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And in Sprint Race 1, the points finishers, Robert Schwartzman, Dan Ticktum, Guanyu Zhou, Duran Deruvela. 5th place was Theo Pourchaire, who had the fastest lap, so bonus points to him.
Yep.
6th place, Ralph Boschung.
Yep.
7th place, Marcus Armstrong, and Yuri Vips, who had a great weekend. Started out by finishing in points in Sprint Race 1. Sprint Race 2, the Estonia gets the win. Yuri Vips over David Beckman, John Deruvela, 3rd, Bent Viscal, 4th, Robert Schwartzman, 5th, Dan Ticktum, 6th, Liam Lawson, 7th, and Oscar Piastri, who finished 8th, picked up the points for fastest lap.
Right.
Feature race. In the feature race, we had Yuri Vips once again, Oscar Piastri, Robert Schwartzman, Philippe Drugovich, 4th. Ralph Boschung, 5th. Liam Lawson, who finished 6th, picked up points for pole position. Gian Daruvula, 7th. Dan Ticktum, 8th, with points for fastest lap. Christian Lundgaard, 9th. And Liam Zendelli for MP Motorsport finished in the top 10. So the sprint races, you finish top 8, you get points. The feature race, you finish in the top 10, you get points. Fastest lap for pole position points was qualifying for the feature.
Yeah.
In the sprints, you get points if you're fastest lap in the points position.
Oh, wow.
Boston score, Brad Martian.
But, like, the thing with, it was interesting for Yuri Vips. Yuri Vips just had, he was a
fast driver. What else can I say?
Yeah. I'm glad that High Tech hired him for the F2 season because remember, he actually drove for Doms when remember Sean Galisle injured his back and
he put out some great numbers for
Doms. Yeah, last year, and then this year joins High Tech Grand Prix to replace Luca Giotto because remember High Tech Mazepin went up to F1, and that's when Lawson got his ride, and Giotto got replaced by Vips, and Vips just, Yuri Vips is really putting.
Estonia doesn't really have the best record of drivers, racing drivers, but guess what? I mean, you remember Tonis Kasmits, who raced in kart?
Yeah.
Well, you know that guy? He actually races in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge.
But like in all honesty, though,
remember
there was the test driver Kevin Corgis.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Like,
but like, just looking at it, Estonia has never had the best drivers. They don't even have too many drivers in motorsport. But Yuri Vips, get used to his name. He is unbelievably fast. And I think there's a lot of talent that we're going to see from him in the future. But let's take a look at this year, though. We have Guan Yu Zhou, the points leader after 3 race weekends.
Yep.
78 points for Zhou.
Yep.
Oscar Piastri is second. Now, Piastri has 73 points, so that's
5 points. 78 to 73, that's 5.
5-point difference. Robert Schwartzman leaps up to third with 66 points. Jerry Vips, fourth with 63 points. And Dan Ticktum, fifth. Yes, top 5 in points with 60 points. He was in a points paying position all weekend long. Teams Championship, a 20-point difference between first and second. Prema Power Team is up. They have 139 points. Behind Prema is Unai Bertossi Racing with 119 points. Third place, High Tech Grand Prix.
Yep.
And fourth place, Carlin tied with 113 points. And fifth place is Art Grand Prix with 73 points.
Yeah.
So when is their next race weekend? That is at the Silverstone Circuit, accompanying the British Grand Prix on the 17th and 18th of July for week 4 of 8. So, one more weekend. Weekend of racing will be done with the first half.
And F2 was interesting that weekend, but it's we had at least the people not 2019 events but everybody could back out of the turn 3 area, not like a certain driver back in 2019 that couldn't.
I know you talk about Mahavir Raghunathan thing.
Or nobody ran a 203 like Mahavir.
Alessio Delata.
He was slow.
Same thing. They're like the same driver. Okay, let's get into seriousness now. I mean, it's been a very good weekend for the guys that race in Formula 2.
Yeah.
I'm just a little surprised that Piastri didn't achieve more than he already done. I think it took 2 sprint races for Piastri to get a hold of the Formula 2 car around Baku. Remember, a lot of these drivers, since Baku wasn't on the schedule last year, they have to make up for lost ground in terms of knowledge around the circuit.
Yeah, and
This won't be the only place where it's going to happen either around the F1 weekends.
And also the F2 cars are way different than the F3 cars. There's more speed in the F2 cars than Formula 3 cars.
That is correct. All right, guys, ready to talk some sports cars?
Yep.
think I am. We had an incredible weekend of endurance sports car racing. We're going to start off with one of the greatest events of all time, and that is the 24 Hours of the Nürburgring, a classic race around the Nürburgring Nordschleife plus Grand Prix circuit. Lap times average about 10 minutes, sometimes longer, depending on the weather conditions. Hundreds and hundreds of cars in all categories make up over 25 classes in total. The battle for the overall win always seems to come down to the final hour. Another impressive yet controversial yet wild race that we saw at the Ring in the Eifel Mountains of Germany. Weather did play a role, but it wasn't as bad as it was. And by the way, I put the results. You have to scroll up the Timing 71 results. You should find it right there. That's a good way to find the Nürburgring results. Because I have it right there. I'll just put it back in the chat so you see it again. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the top 10 overall, and then we'll look at all the class winners one by one. There were only 59 laps complete, and that was a record low because of the weather situation. Now, what happened at the Nürburgring?
Fog.
Yeah.
Heavy fog. Yeah.
It was so bad. I mean, you couldn't see. The helicopter wasn't even legally allowed to fly on over. So what happened was they had to pretty much red flag the race, because in any case of an emergency, helicopter needs to go over. That wouldn't be possible, and thus that was enough of a risk. I put another PDF for the results, and let's take a look at the top 10 overall. So, winning this race for a record 7th time, the team Manti Racing, based right outside the Ring, took the win after completing 59 laps, winning an SP9, the winning SP9 class overall. And, of course, Porsche, their 13th win in the 24 hours of the Nürburgring. How about Matteo Caroli, Michael Christensen, Kevin Estre, and while he didn't do any laps, Lars Kern was part of the lineup. So congratulations to the team. Another stellar run for Manti Racing and Porsche. Porsche's first win since 2018 at the Nürburgring 24 hours. And it shows how strong they are as a manufacturer brand. Most of these manufacturers, especially the German car companies, do their testing around the Ring for their production cars. Just to throw that side note in. Second place, last year's defending winning team, Rover Racing, BMW M6 GT3, came up just shy of the win. The gap between first and second was 8 seconds long, and 8 seconds sounds very large in other disciplines of racing, but 8 seconds is a very slim gap for the Nürburgring 24 hours. Third place, so the drivers in second place were the BMW factory drivers, Marco Wittmann, Sheldon van der Linde, Martin Tomczyk, Connor De Filippi, who actually won this race before in an Audi. Third place, we saw the Mercedes, the top Mercedes in this race. So Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, your top three. The AMG team Get Speed, entry of Maxime Gotz, Daniel Huncadella, and Rafael Maricello were the drivers for that car. Fourth place was number 44, Falcon Motorsports Porsche. Yes, a tire brand owns a race team.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Drivers for that 44 car were, well, Porsche factory drivers, Klaus Bachler, Martin Rajinger, Sven Mueller, and Alessio Piccarello. Fifth place was the highest Audi in the race, which I thought we were going to see Audi win. Well, not that car, but, you know, the point I'm trying to make here is they were somewhat fast. The number 5, Audi Sport Team Car Collection, Audi R8 LMS GT3 with Christopher Haas, Nico Mueller, and Marcus Winkelhock. Of course, these guys are former winners of the race, not able to get the job done. Usually the Audis do well in the overnight portions of the race, a part of the race that we kind of lost with this red flag that lasted over half the duration. Sixth place went to the number 20, Schubert Motorsport BMW M6 GT3 with Alexander Sims, Stefan Dusseldorf, Jens Klingman, and Jesse Krohn, the factory lineup for BMW.
Oh gosh, Joseph.
Yeah, I saw the Islanders scored. 7th place was the number 8 Gatsby Mercedes. They were in the podium fighting position before an untimely pit stop threw them out of that. With drivers Jules Guggen, Fabian Schiller, and Matthew Vaxivière on the wheel of that car. 9th place overall was, or 8th place overall was the Hubert Motorsport car, Porsche. And I don't think these guys are Porsche factory drivers. They must be through the junior program or so, because I have no idea who these guys are. Philip Neufer, Sven Aust, Nico Metzel, and Marco Seefried. Now, I've seen Seefried before, but the other guys, not so much. 9th place, we had the Falcon Motorsports Porsche, the last car in the lead lap. How about that? 9 cars finished on the lead lap after a 24-hour race in Nürburgring. Yeah, I know.
That's insane.
That was crazy just to see 9 cars overall in the lead lap. Some 3 minutes and 13 seconds behind with Klaus Bachler, Dirk Werner, Thomas Preining, and Lance David Arnold, and the 33 car for Falcon Motorsports. And 10th place was the number 40 10Q Racing Team Howard and Zabil GBR Mercedes AMG GT3 of Kenneth Hayer, Thomas Jager, Yelma Berman, and Dominic Bobbin. The first car to finish the lap down overall. So that was the SP9 class. Now we're going to go look at I'm going to go ahead and take a look at all the class winners in order of their overall positions. So starting with the SPX class winner was the highest non-SP9 class car to finish in the race. It was the Space Race Drive Racing Mercedes AMG GT3 that finished 15th overall, winning the SPX class. That's an MR version, by the way.
Oh.
That car was Christian Krognes, David Pittard, and Ben. Actually, no, that was the BMW reading off. I mean, Dominic Farnbacher, Darren Turner, Philip Ellis, and Tim Shearberth. Those guys, not the BMW I accidentally mentioned. We have a lot of classes here, so let's just bear with me. The next class we had was the Cup X class. That was won by the KTM Expo, the Crossbow. That's how we say it. The number 114 True Racing KTM Crossbow with Johannes and Ferdinand Stuck and Reinhard Koffler behind the wheel of that car. They finished in 21st place overall, completing 55 laps. Next class winner we had was the SP10 class. SP10 finishing in 25th overall. It was the number 34 Schnitzelm Racing Mercedes AMG GT4. This was a class that consisted of a lot of GT4s in it. The drivers Marcel Marchevitz and Merrick Bachmann. Two drivers in that car. Remember, the rain came in, or not the rain, the fog came in. A lot of the drivers, some of the drivers never even ran in their stints because of the lack of time in the race.
Yeah.
The SP8T car class winner finished right behind the SP10 winner in 26th place overall. It was the Black Falcon Team Techstar Mercedes AMG GT4 Gabriel Piana, Mehmet Mustafa, Mike Strohsbergen, and Erzin Yusikin. Number 36 finished position 26 overall. Looks like we lost Danny. Let's see here. The next class we had was the SP3T class winner. That car, SP3T. No, SP. Yeah, actually that car got put to the back, but they're still considered the class winners here. SP3T was the number 34 Max Cruz Racing Volkswagen Golf GTI TCR. Seeing a lot of the TCRs running the races here. The TCR class, though, they had their own category, and that was won by Hyundai's factory program. Based in their own shop in Korea, they came to the race with the Hyundai Motorsport N and the new Elantra N TCR model. That car won the TCR class, In fact, they finished first and second in two different Hyundai models. They completed the same amount of laps in TCR, mind you. So that was a pretty good battle. Manuel Lauk, Morris Ostrich, and Mark Bassing. Some really familiar names in touring car racing. I guess they could get it done in an endurance race, even though most touring car races are sprint races, Justin.
Yeah.
How it works there. Let's take a look at the next category after TCR. That would be the Cup 3 class winner, which they finished right behind them as 34th overall. The G-Tech competition Porsche Cayman GT4 CS718, finishing 34th overall with Max Kronberg, Ben Bonagel, and Fabio Grossi, were the drivers.
My.
Islanders are 42.
Wow. I guess the Islanders want to be good.
Oh, they're good. All right. All right. The 18 class. We have so many classes left. The 18 class winner was the number 320 Ford Motors Bio Concept car. Yes, that is one of those bio concept cars that you see nowadays, like carbon neutral type of deal thingies. That car was 39th overall. It was the 320 car that finished actually 42nd overall because they had to change the results. It was a Porsche 911 GT3 Cup 2 that was carbon neutral. Driver whose name is Smudo. I guess some of these drivers have their own nicknames. Thomas Kiefer and Charles Kaufman. They were the co-drivers. Actually, I think I found his real name. Smudo's real name, Michael B. Schmidt.
Yeah.
Next class we had was the SP7 class. That was the Hubert Motorsport number 80. Hubert Motorsport number 80. Porsche 911 GT3 Cup class. Some of these classes were one makes, by the way.
Yeah.
The number 80 did a pretty good job, for sure, in their category. And there's so many categories that were in this race. It's kind of like a marathon, you know. You just have to watch the overall because everything else is going on around them. But yeah, the number 80 car, Hubert Motorsport, Porsche doing a pretty good job with Ulrich Berg and Hens Verman. Those are the drivers in that car. Next in class, here's some familiar names here. The 53 car winning in the SP8 class, the GH Tyre Motorsport by WS Racing Audi R8 LMS GT4 Evo, taking SP8 class honors with drivers Christina Nielsen, Pippa Mann, Carrie Schreiner, and Celia Martin. That is an all-female roster right there taking class honors in SP8. Next, we had the V2T class, which was won by the 159 FK Performance GBR BMW 330i. The V6 class was the number 132 Team Mathol Racing EV Porsche Cayman S. I wonder if that was an actual electric Porsche Cayman. I will have to double check on that, Justin. But just a lot of different, cars that come up to these races, and it's just an interesting look to see. SP4T class was the number 86 Porsche Cayman 718 GTS by Team Mathol Racing. Another class win by that same team that won in the other class. Cup 5 was the number 242 Adrenaline Motorsport Team Alsner Adrenaline BMW M2 Club Sport Racing. V4 was another BMW class win. BMW Custom Racing should be proud, even though they didn't get the overall win, which would have been icing on the cake for sure.
Yeah.
V4. We had the number 151 BMW 325i. The BMW M240i Racing Cup class was won by the number 231 Adrenaline Motorsport Team Alsner Adrenaline BMW M24i Racing. SP3, we just got a few more classes left here. SP3 was won by, listen to this, Toyota Gazoo Racing brought their touring car program out from their Thailand base to run this as they do every year. It was the number 120 Toyota Gazoo Racing Team Thailand Toyota Corolla Altis model, the car that's sold in Thailand. They brought 2 cars out there this year, and a class win for that category for the Toyota Corolla Altis. Drivers Shen Jinghong, Naoki Kawamura, name I haven't heard in quite some time, and Grant Supa Pongs. Good run for the GT N24 edition. Yeah, that car is actually customized by the Toyota Gazoo base in Thailand. See, Toyota Gazoo is the performance for Toyota outside the States. We have TRD, Toyota Racing Development in the United States. They have their own entity here, which is pretty much more to focus on muscle cars and all that. Not some like muscle cars, but like, you know, in that same American language. It's an interesting deal. V3T class winners was the number 168 Team Methyl Racing. Another Team Methyl Racing class win in the Porsche 718 EV Cayman S, taking the win. They had the 2 drivers on that roster. SP4 class was the number 325 MRC Race World BMW 325i, taking the win. 4 more classes here. SP6 was the number 81 Hofer Racing BMW M3 CSL. SP2T was the number 165 Hyundai Motorsport N Hyundai i20N edition TCR car. V5 was the number 142 Rent to Drive Familia Racing Porsche Cayman. And last but not least, the SP Pro class winner was the number 350 Black Falcon Team Identica Porsche 991 GT3 Cup 2 MR edition. But let's get back into this whole thing. Was it as much of a disappointment as it was of a surprise to see that this race was put under the red flag for so long? Or maybe it was just one of those years that we just have to accept it, that it wasn't a perfect race. I'll give you a good example. The Spa 24 Hours a few years back. Remember 2019, it was halted for almost half the distance because of downpour? At least that race got back, unlike the 24 Hours of Dubai from 2020. Now that was treacherous. All right, let's get into the ELMS race. So, yeah, congratulations to Porsche. They take the win once again. Porsche wins at home. The European Le Mans Series is back, and I'm just trying to find ELMS on Camel Systems. Yeah, there we go. The 4 hours of La Castellet, which was round 3 of 6 in the European Le Mans schedule. G-Drive Racing take the win once again, and I didn't pick them to win. I thought it was going to be United Autosports or Team WRT once more.
Oh, I picked Team... No, you picked Team WRT.
Oh, I picked them.
Me too. Me and you both picked them. So we thought they were going to win again because they were so strong, but nope, they ended up not winning.
It was interesting, to say the least, to see that United Autosports really came back to life at G-Drive Racing. The Russian team conquered France.
Yep.
Quite literally, talking in the sense of war, but not war, but like, you know, the point.
Yeah.
Roman Rusinov, Franco Colapinto, and Nick DeVries were the winners in that class. So great run for those guys. They won overall. They win an LMP2 class. Second place was the number 22 United Autosports, Orca 07, with drivers Jonathan Aberdeen and Tom Gamble and Philip Hansen. Number 32 was the United Autosports entries of Nico Jamin, Manuel Maldonado, and Jonathan Oitert. They finished third, rounding out the podium overall. Fourth place was the number 32. The 30 Duquesne team, Orca 07.
Yeah.
With Renee Binder, Tristan Gomendy, and Memo Rojas. Fifth place in class was the number 41 Team WRT Orca 07, the team that took the early parts of the season by storm. Let me change that. There we go.
Oh, Montreal's playing Winnipeg. And there's still no score in that game. It just started. Montreal has 1 shot, Winnipeg has 2. That's the only difference.
See here, the LMP3 class. Let's take a look at. Oh, before we go to LMP3, the award for Pro-Am car, highest Pro-Am in the race, was the number 60. No, the number 34 Racing Team Turkey.
Yeah.
Racing Team Turkey, also known as TF Sport, Orca 07 with drivers Harry Tinknell, Sally Yoluk, and Charlie Eastwood. They finished 6th overall as well as class. LMP3 class went to the number 4 DKR Engineering. Duquesne. M30 DO8. An LMP3 car taking the win with drivers with Lawrence Haar and Jean-Philippe Giraud. Just 2 drivers for this go-around. Second place was the number 19 Cool Racing Ligier JSP320 with Matthew Bell, Nicholas Cruton, and Nikolai Malini. Third place, number 2 United Autosports Ligier JSP320 with Wayne Boyd, Edward Calhelp, and Rob Weldon. Fourth place was the number 15 RLRM Sport. I thought they were going to do a little bit better this time around, and just not meant to be, with Mike Benham, Alex Capadia, and Nazi Jacobson. And fifth place was the number 7 Nielsen Racing JSP320 with Colin Noble and Anthony Wells. Let's take a look at the most scarce class of the race, which was LMGTE. Because the class with the Nürburgring 24 hours, a lot of new names there, and some missing names. Number 80, Iron Lynx Ferrari 488 GTE Evo with Matteo Cressoni, Renato Mastronardi, and Miguel Molina bring Ferrari the class win in LMGTE. In fact, Ferraris pick up the podium. All 3 cars sweep the podium in GTE.
Wow.
Second place, we have the number 55 Spirit of Race Ferrari with the drivers Duncan Cameron, Matt Griffin, and David Perel. Third place, number 88 AF Corsa Ferrari with Emmanuel Collar, Francois Parado, and Alessia Rovera. Fourth place was the number 77 WeatherTech Racing Proton Competition Porsche 911 RSR, getting the win. Not the win, the fourth place. See, I'm all over the place. Fourth place in class, not on the podium. And fifth place was number 60 Iron Lynx Ferrari with Giorgio Cernaggiotto, Claudio Schiavoni, and Paolo Roberti behind the wheel of that Ferrari. So, yep. Seems like all the Ferraris decided to stay. Say what you want. Remember, this race was supposed to be during the 24, or it was supposed to be on a different weekend, but because the 24 hours of Le Mans date changed, the 29th of August, but the 24 hours of Le Mans date changed to that time. Yeah. So they had to put Lucas Dowlett on that date.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll be a little bit over a month off, just about a month off, and on July 11th, we'll see the 4 hours of Monza for round 4 or 6 to start the second half of the season. All right. Before we get into the race previews, let's take a look at what we saw on the bikes. How about some MotoGP? MotoGP for this weekend, we had the Catalan Grand Prix.
Yep.
Round number 7 of 19, still 19 race championship. That could change. So some postponed Grand Prix and a canceled Grand Prix. Other than that, we're still kind of on that same schedule here. The Catalan Motorcycle Grand Prix was held at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia.
Yeah, I was about to say that doesn't sound.
We could have jet ski racing at Spa. Unfortunately, it'd be a little more serious. I hate to see
Yeah.
property damage.
But still, but like the Kathleen sounds like Catalonia. That's why. But like Kathleen Grand Prix at Spa would be an interesting because Kathleen sounds like Catalonia compared to Spa.
Right.
Except there was a Spa Grand Prix motorcycle
Spa
race.
kind of turned into a spa, quite literally.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get back to the race that we saw in Catalonia. But yeah, Miguel Oliveira, the Portuguese KTM rider, took the win. He started fourth, and once he got to the lead, he never looked back.
Yep.
Johann Zarco finished second in his Ducati. Third place, it was a Ducati, second and third, double podium for them. Jack Miller. Joan Mir, fourth, highest Suzuki in the race. Fifth place, Maverick Vinales. Sixth place was Fabio Quartararo. Now, Fabio Quartararo, he was given a 3-second penalty for gaining an advantage shortcutting the track in turns 1 and 2, and a 3-second penalty for riding an open leather suit without a chest protector. Yeah, his chest was out in the open at the end, and the FIM did not like that, so they bonked him with a
like nope.
With a penalty.
Yeah.
He still got 6, and he's in the points. Yeah, that's where I'm going next now. The championship standings.
Well, who got the rest of the points?
The World Riders. The points finishers. The rest of the points finishers. Yeah. Francesco Bagnaia 7th, Brad Binder 8th, Franco Morbidelli 9th, and Bastianini 10th, Alex Marquez 11th, Luca Marini 12th, Takaki Nakagami finally getting some points again in 13th, and Jorge Martin 14th, and Lorenzo Savadori 15th, the only Aprilia to get points in the race. Now, unfortunately, Paul Espargaro was involved in an early accident, as was once again Marquez. Just can't catch a break.
No.
All right, let's take a look at the standings. After 7 races, Fabio Quartararo still has the points lead. He's got a 14-point lead with 115 points claimed so far. 14 points over Johann Zarco. So French riders 1 and 2 with 2 different teams. The Pramac Racing rider has 101 points. Third place, Jack Miller with 90 points. Fourth place, Francesco Bagnaia with 88 points. In fifth place, Joan Mir with 78 points. And Marc Marquez, by the way, he retired for the 3rd race in a row. Has not been his year. Constructor standings. How about Yamaha? They have won more races than anybody else. First 3 in a row, and then last week at the Italian Grand Prix. However, it's not enough. Ducati has been almost perfect in terms of podium visits. 2 wins in a row from France to Italy puts them up to par with Yamaha, quite literally even with 143 points each. Yamaha and Ducati are tied for the Constructors' Championship lead. KTM is 3rd with 83 points. Suzuki is 4th with 82 points, so we got to fight for 3rd as we have a fight for 1st. 5th place is still Honda with 52 points. Not so far from Aprilia with 45 points, so you just have to keep getting those points finishes.
And Montreal just scored a goal, so it's 1-0 Montreal.
Yep, bye Jets. The Jets are landing, and they'll be put away for the rest of the year.
Yeah, Winnipeg is not like, and of all places to, and it's also in Montreal, so home game for the Habs.
Yeah, and they have fans.
They're probably gonna have. Okay, the Habs have to get the broom ready. They got to get that broom ready.
I think what happens is when you sweep a team, then you get swept. That means you basically traded your broom away for the first round.
Well, it depends. It just depends who they're playing next.
Yeah, because it's going to be based off seeding. All right, let's take a look at the team's championship. We have a 12-point difference between first and second. Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP is in front with 190 points to their name. Ducati Lenovo team. So Ducatis are second and third in the team standings, with the Ducati Lenovo team, the factory team, 178 points. Pramac Racing, a team that runs Ducatis, is third with 124 points. Team Suzuki X-Star is fourth with 101 points. While Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, the team that got their first win of the year with Miguel Oliveira, is fifth with 97 points. So, yep, there you have it. We'll be off next week or they'll be off next week, the MotoGP guys, and then they'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the running of the German Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Which that race will be on the 20th of June, round 8 of what is currently a 19-race calendar, and that the German Motorcycle Grand Prix will actually be held in the Sachsenring. I've not really seen that track be used too much, but it's an interesting layout for sure.
I've never even heard of that name.
The Sachsenring was actually opened in 1927, but do you think that track was kind of like Mugello, has been undermined from their sister circuits in the same country? Does that make sense?
Wait.
Like, what I'm trying to say is like, oh, okay, the ADAC Formula 4 and ADAC GT Masters race there.
I found the circuit.
TCR, that's their next track.
Oh, I guess the lap record, it was a Formula 4 driver, Fabio Scherer, drove for U.S. Racing in 2017 in Formula 4. His lap time was a 1:18.362. Yeah.
I can't wait to see that venue.
Yeah, I've never.
It's public eyes as well. So that's the next race. That'll be round 8 of 19. I think we're good on not super bikes, MotoGP.
I was about to say super bikes. That's already another series.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this weekend's races. So we'll start off with NASCAR. We'll talk about what to expect in the 2021 edition of the All-Star Race, the first ever All-Star Race and the fourth destination in the history of the event. Texas Motor Speedway will host the NASCAR Xfinity Series race for round 14 and the Truck Series round 11. First half of the Truck Series will come to an end this weekend. IndyCar, we have the Detroit Grand Prix for rounds 7 and 8 of 16. The start of the post-Indy 500 part of the year begins. This is where the championship becomes your main priority. Now that Indy's out of the way.
Yeah.
We have 2 sports car races. We'll start with the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship race that accompanies the IndyCar Detroit Grand Prix. That's round 4 of 12. And the FIA World Endurance Championship is back with the 8 hours of Portimao, round 2 of 6. We'll get started with NASCAR and the All-Star race. So this is the first ever All-Star race at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to try to find like the roster that is in the All-Star race.
I already sent the entry.
I already have it here. It's on Wikipedia as well. All right. So here are the drivers that are in the All-Star race. Kurt Busch for Chip Ganassi Racing. Team Penske's Brad Keselowski. Richard Childress Racing's Austin Dillon. Stewart-Haas Racing's Kevin Harvick. Hendrick Motorsports, Kyle Larson. Roush Fenway Racing, Ryan Newman. Hendrick Motorsports, Chase Elliott. Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin. Team Penske, Ryan Blaney. Joe Gibbs Racing's Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., and Christopher Bell. Joey Logano for Team Penske. William Byron for Hendrick Motorsports. Michael McDowell for Front Row Motorsports. Cole Custer for Stewart-Haas Racing. And Alex Bowman for Hendrick Motorsports.
Yep.
Now, that will be added with 4 other drivers.
Yeah, which the 4 drivers, if you don't know, for the All-Star, to get into the All-Star from the Open, there's 2 stages plus the stage winners plus the race winner plus the fan vote. If the fan vote wins the stage or in the if the fan vote winner, like the fan vote the person
got in through a different way, then they're going to just pick the second place guy and go down onward.
Yeah. So that's going to lead to be a 21 car grid.
Pretty much we're ensuring that there'll be 4 from the Open coming into the race.
Yeah, but there is some entries that you didn't expect to be in the Open, but Ryan Preece, do you want to know what? Ryan Preece decided he decided not to run the Open, but he's actually running the modifieds at Oswego, so
Yeah, that makes sense.
But also, it's just probably equipment because they did tear up equipment last race at Sonoma. They did tear up quite a bit of equipment, but it's just the Open. It's not a points race. You don't get points out of it.
Yeah, you're not. But some teams show up because their sponsors say, "Yes, we want you there."
But it's like, but I guess they do have
Not
one
for everyone though.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the guys in the Open. So what we're gonna do is come up with the 3 drivers. We're gonna talk about fan vote later because that's kind of self-explanatory. Like we should come up with the fan vote prediction after your predictions for the 3 guys that race their way in. So who will be the 3 drivers to race their way into the All-Star race?
I got, for me, my 3 that are going to race their way in. I have Chase Briscoe because he's good at Texas and, he doesn't have really much competition because there's most of the cars. So I have Chase Briscoe. Next driver I have is Tyler Reddick. The last driver I have getting into the All-Star race. The last pick I have for getting in the All-Star race, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I even think that Almirola's not going to make it. Yeah.
Here are my picks for the All-Star Open. The 3 drivers that will successfully make the All-Star by virtue of racing in.
Yep.
I have Eric Jones. After Eric Jones, Chris Buescher. And after Chris Buescher, I have Eric Almirola.
Okay.
Now that leaves, of course, us with 2 different options for fan vote winner. Since you have your predictions your way, you're going to have a separate fan vote winner possibility than mine. We can't pick the same fan vote winner for those reasons. Who will be the fan vote winner in your situation, but the drivers that would go in?
My situation is Bubba Wallace, the number 23. I feel like just because I know the boomers are not going to vote for him, obviously, because, those people, but most people, like Bubba Wallace, he's a good driver.
He's got a great personality. I think they'll definitely want him in the race.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on Matt DiBenedetto and how much he really campaigns to get in. Matt DiBenedetto is a huge fan favorite, and that would be cool to see him get in with that Wood Brothers team.
Yeah.
So with our drivers in, so me plus my drivers and you plus your drivers into the All-Star race. Now the All-Star race happens. Who will leave Texas Motor Speedway with $1 million?
Okay. My pick for the All-Star race, this driver, the thing is, this driver, jeez. It's kind of hard to pick one, it's just a short race. It's not compared to a long 500-mile race. It's only 100 laps. Okay, my pick for the All-Star race. This driver has never won the All-Star race. I don't know what his best finish is. I think his top 10's his best finish in an All-Star race. Driver of the number 48, Alex Bowman, is going to win the All-Star race at Texas. Keep the momentum going.
This is going to be kind of crazy, but I believe...
Oh, jeez.
Austin Dillon will win the All-Star race.
Okay.
I think so because of the fact that, you don't have to wait around. Even I know he won the 500 race. By the way, I just realized all of Austin Dillon's wins have been in 500-mile races or longer.
Yeah, that's true.
Here you got to just go all out and give it all you have. What does he have to lose? Yeah. And if you win the All-Star race, I think in this year, and you're in that position of Austin Dillon, it's going to give you a great morale boost for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, because most drivers do try to get that $1 million. Like,
Feels good.
yeah, except if you're if you if you don't like the driver winning. Like, remember 2018 when Kevin Harvick kept dominating? Remember that one race, Joseph, when Harvick won the All-Star in 2018 and Mia Armani wanted to steal his car for...
Yeah, you came up with this radical plan to steal Kevin Harvick's car.
That didn't work out, but Harvick did crash in the Coke 600.
Maybe there's some vindication on that. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk about the other races, the ones that will actually count in the championship.
Yeah.
We have the Texas Motor Speedway. We have a 250-mile event. Let's take a look at the history of this race. So last year's winners, of course, were this round 14 event. Last year, we saw Austin Cindric. The Bruins are done. They're done. Austin Cindric and Harrison Burton took the wins last year. In 1997, Mark Martin won the inaugural race at Texas Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch is looking for his 10th win at Texas. He almost got it last year if it weren't for that disqualification. He has 9 wins, more than any other driver. Kevin Harvick, 5 times a winner at Texas Motor Speedway. Eric Jones and Mark Martin share 3 wins. Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, and Brad Keselowski share 2 wins. Now let's look at the spring race. Who has the most wins by a team in the spring race? Joe Gibbs Racing with 8. Josh Fenwick Racing with 6. And Team Penske with 3. Who has most wins by a make in the spring race? This could change, but 9 wins for Ford, 8 wins for Toyota, 5 wins for Chevy, and Dodge when they were around had 2 wins. So take the picks. 250 miles, 1 winner.
I got my pick. This driver, I'll tell you his stats at the track. He only has 3 starts at Texas Motor Speedway. And 3 starts here. In the 3 starts he has 1 win, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 3 top 20s, 41 laps led, average start of 7th. His lowest finish is 7th here. His average finish is 4th. This driver has a win. He won here last October. Driver of the number 20, Harrison Burton, is going to win at Texas and go basically back-to-back at Texas, winning last year, fall race, and then winning it again in June.
That'd be a cool one. I believe that this weekend, I think Austin Cindric will go back to victory lane. He should have had that win at Mid-Ohio last weekend. It just didn't go well. He's going to redeem. He won last year. Say what you want. A win is still a win. Even though he didn't physically win it. He still was given first place.
Well, Kyle Busch is in the field, so he's going to be probably
let's not rule him out either.
Yeah, that 54 car, he's in the field. He's probably going to try everything to win, too.
All right, let's take a look at the race that we're going to get. Is it Friday night, the Truck Series?
Saturday afternoon before the Truck Xfinity race. Yeah,
okay. All-Stars on Sunday?
Yeah, the All-Stars Sunday evening under the lights. Yeah, that's how they decided, but it's going to be an interesting Truck Series race.
All right, the Truck Series race at Texas Motor Speedway, that's the final race in the first half of the season, round 11 of 22. Last year we had 2 races. Kyle Busch and Sheldon Creed were the race winners. First race was held here in 1997 when the track opened. The late Kenny Irwin Jr. won that event. Who has more wins than anybody else at this track? How about 2-time champion Todd Bodine, a 6-time winner? Kyle Busch won here 5 times, as does Johnny Sawyer, the winningest active driver. In fact, Johnny Sawyer could tie Todd Bodine on that list this weekend. He almost did it last year before that crash with Stuart Friesen. Brendan Gaughan has done something that no driver has ever done at this track. Win 4 in a row at Texas. He swept 2002 and 2003 for his family-owned team. Ron Hornaday Jr. is a 3-time winner at Texas Motor Speedway. Greg Biffle, Matt Crafton, Dennis Setzer, and Jack Sprague, 2-time winners at Texas Motor Speedway. Let's take a look at the team wins for the spring Texas race. Germain Racing, 4 wins. That could be tied by ThorSport Racing with 3 wins. Kyle Busch Motorsports as well could tie that one with 3 wins on their board.
Yep.
For the spring race, nice, Boston scored. The spring race has been won twice by Orleans Motorsports. The team, Brendan Gaughan, had half of those wins in the spring, so those were for Orleans Motorsports. or Arley's Racing. Kevin Harvick Incorporated and GMS Racing are also two-time winners. GMS Racing, the only active two-time winner on that list. For the spring race, in manufacturers, best to drive a Toyota around here in the spring at Texas. They have more wins than anybody else. 10 times they've gotten a victory. Chevrolet, I'd say same thing. 8 times they've won. Ford and Dodge share 3 wins for spring Texas truck races. All right.
Okay.
220 miles, one winner. Who's gonna be?
Okay. Okay, I got my pick. This driver in 6 races here, he has 0 wins, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 5 top 20s, 30 laps led, a pole here. His best finish is 2nd, average start of 11, an average finish of 10.67. This driver, he drives a Toyota, driver of the number 52. Stuart Friesen redeems himself and wins at Texas for the first time.
Stuart Friesen, that sounds like a good pick. He seems to be very good at this kind of mile and a half.
Yeah.
I have Zane Smith taking the win this weekend.
Okay, but oh my gosh, I just found a stat that's interesting. Wendell Chavis has a better average finish here than Ben Rhodes.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Ben Rhodes' average finish here is 13th. Wendell Chavis 12th.
How do you remember Wendell Chavis?
I remember he almost won. He finished
on that one Talladega race. That was fun.
Yeah, it was actually his last career start in 2018.
He hung the helmet after that.
But that would have been interesting if he would have won for Premium Motorsports. Yeah. Well, you remembered him for pictures of his T-shirt and what a T-shirt.
Oh yeah, he never wore a racing suit in his picture.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on and talk some open wheel racing. Then we got some sports cars coming up. We're gonna start off with the IndyCar Series.
Yeah.
Pull that up. At the beautiful streets of Belle Isle in Detroit, Michigan, we have the Detroit Grand Prix back for the first time since 2019. Another second and third street races of the year. So it'll be round 7 and 8 of 16, the first race after the Indy 500. So that part of the season begins. And guess what? After this race weekend, we'll be halfway through the year. Last races were held in 2019. Joseph Newgarden for Team Penske and Chip Ganassi Racing. Scott Dixon were the winners of that event. The first race was held back in 1989 in a different street venue, not so far away, won by Emerson Fittipaldi. A few years later, they would be moved to Belle Isle, and that's where they've been ever since, with some off years in between.
Yeah.
Most wins, well, it's a tie between Scott Dixon and Elio Castroneves with 3. Emerson Fittipaldi, Michael Andretti, Will Power, Sebastian Bourdais, and Graham Rahal are all 2-time winners at this event.
Yeah.
For team wins, 7 for Team Penske. 4 wins shared each by Andretti Autosport and Chip Ganassi Racing. Newman Haas Racing, Rahal Letterman, Lanigan Racing, 3-time winners. KV Racing Technology, 2-time winners. And for engine make wins, Honda outscores Chevrolet in this battle, 15-11. Honda 15, Chevy 11, Ford 2, 1 for Ilmor and Mercedes. So now those numbers are in. Let's take a look at this year's lineup. Who will take supremacy for the IndyCar weekend, race 1 and race 2.
I got race 1. Race 1, my pick. This driver, he has a win. He won here in 2019, one of the races in 2019. Driver of the number 2, Joseph Newgarden, will win race 1. Race 2. This driver is confirmed in the race because this driver did announce he's running in a 3rd car for this team this weekend. Driver of the number 45, Santino Ferrucci, gets his first career win in race number 2. He did confirm that he's running this weekend in both races.
He's pretty good on these street courses.
Yeah.
Let's see how that fares out.
Yep.
For race 1, I have Sebastian Bourdais. He's going to go to victory for the first time since 2018.
Yeah, interesting.
And for race 2, Scott Dixon will officially tie Mario Andretti for second most wins of all time. He'll get his 52nd career win.
Okay.
And he'll become the winningest driver at Detroit, getting that 4th win at the circuit.
Yeah.
Should be a good weekend. Plus, Dixon's going to need to catch up to Palau in points because Alex Palau really did bank big on the 500.
But Alex Palau's decent on street courses, so Palau could do good there.
That's true. It might come down to 2 teammates battling for this championship.
Yeah, we'll have to see how everything plays out.
It's going to be like 2017 again when we had the Penske guys of Newgarden, Pagano.
Yeah, like the weekend layout for the IndyCar, they have one practice on Friday, they have a qualifying on Saturday, and then the race on Saturday for race 1. Sunday, they have a morning qualifying for race 2, and then the race. That's how they have the schedule laid out for this weekend's doubleheader at Detroit. So it's going to be interesting.
All right, and to accompany the IndyCar Series event there. Now, I need to find the entry list for that one.
I did send it.
Oh, I see it right there. Thank you very much, Justin.
Yep.
For round number 4 of the 2021 IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, the shortest races of the year on the street courses as for sprints are concerned. Round 4 of 12, we have the Detroit Grand Prix. Let's take a look at some of the history of the race in 2019. Last race was held. It was the Acura ARX 05 with Team Penske with drivers Juan Pablo Montoya and Dane Cameron taking the win. First race was held here in 2007. Ironically, Team Penske with the Porsche RS Spider with Romain Dumas and Timo Bernard the winners. For drivers, most wins, Jordan Taylor 4 wins, Ricky Taylor 3 wins, Eric Curran and Dane Cameron share 2 wins. But team wins, Wayne Taylor Racing with 4, Action Express Racing with 3, and Team Penske with 2. And for most wins by a constructor, Chevrolet with 5, Cadillac with 2, as well as Acura, 2 wins from Acura and 1 win from Porsche that very first race. So let's see. I mean, I'm just trying to look at the categories that we have here. Only 3 categories will be racing. Of course, the overall class will be the DPI this weekend with just 6 entries. 2 entries from the DLM with just Corvette in the event. Well, I mean, this is kind of what happens when you have the WEC clashing on the weekend, but because of the Le Mans date change, there was no choice.
Yeah, but also that it's just funny. Of all things, to have just Corvette running, it's called the Chevy Classic Grand Prix.
It makes sense. It makes sense now.
Yeah, Chevrolet Classic Grand Prix. Oh, the Chevys. It's obvious. So Ian must be happy.
I mean, well, it depends on who's going to go for the points championship either way.
That's true.
Because that WeatherTech Porsche is out overseas. They were in the ELMS race literally this past weekend. As was Ferraris, all those Ferraris that usually run. But of course, we still have 12 GT3s to make up the GT Daytona class. So there's something.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are coming back from the Nürburgring.
Yeah.
And you know what? Why would you want to go back to the States now unless you really, really need to? I mean, I see Mario Farnbacher. He was at the ring. All right, let's start with the overall class. The DPI category is going to take Goners over there.
For me, DPI pick. This team, they won 4 years ago when they were running with Cadillac back in 2017, but now they're running with Acura. My pick's the number 10 Kanaka Minolta Acura RX-05, driven by Ricky Taylor and Philippe Albuquerque. Because those 2 drivers are really good. They've been really consistent this season.
Yeah, and also you got to manage the street circuits.
Yep.
I think we're going to see Chip Ganassi Racing get the win here. Ranger van der Zandt and Kevin Magnussen for the Chip Ganassi Racing Cadillac number 01 will take the win. It'll be a good bout. I mean, don't rule out the Mazda either from Multimatic Racing. That team has been doing very well. Okay, GTLM, the LMGT class, because of the FIA World Endurance Championship Clash weekend, there are only 2 Corvettes that are factory supported coming into this thing together. So either the 3 of Antonio Garcia, Jordan Taylor, or the 4 of Nick Tandy who's fresh out of the Nürburgring, and Tommy Milner.
Okay, I got my pick.
Sure.
My pick's the number 3 Corvette Racing Chevy.
I'll go with 4.
Antonio Garcia and Jordan Taylor. Jordan did win with
Jordan
his
has
brother.
the most overall wins with 4.
Yeah, he actually won with his brother.
Yeah, his brother Ricky has second most overall wins at 3.
Yeah, so the Taylors know Ricky and
they know their way around here pretty well.
Yeah, so you need.
I'm going to go with Nick Tandy and Tommy Milner. Nick Tandy can run 24 hours around the Nürburgring in a Porsche, then he can certainly run around here in the street circuit for 1 hour and 40 minutes at Detroit.
Then it's
managing the driver times. That's going to be difficult for a street race.
Yeah.
And last but not least, the FIA Group GT3 category, known as GT Daytona. 12 in total. Not too many. Each car has 2 drivers who will be the class victor.
My pick is the number, where is it? My pick's the number 96 Turner Motorsports BMW M6 GT3, driven by Bill Oberlin and Robbie Foley. I'm picking experience because you kind of need some experience at these tight street circuits.
Right. Experience would definitely win on this one. So I think I'm going to go with the number 76, Compass Racing Acura NSX GT3 with Jeff Kingsley and Mario Farnbacher.
Okay.
We'll see how these guys do. It should be a fun race, not the most exciting, but it's going to be interesting for who shows up.
Yeah, it's 20 cars. It's going to be interesting. That race is after IndyCar at
Saturday?
5. Yeah, I think it's at 5 Eastern, I think.
Let's take a look at the other event. This one, of course, is getting more attention for sure, more competitors. The FIA World Endurance Championship, round 2 of this 6-race World Championship. We are back in action with the 8 hours of Portimao, the inaugural running of the 8 hours of Portimao Algarve circuit in Portimao, Portugal. Should be a very entertaining race, I'd say. We have a total of 32 cars that will take the green overall.
Yeah. Oh, my.
Let's start with the overall contending class with the hypercars. Who will take home the LMH category?
Okay.
No overall one. And actually, we'll leave that overall question later. And just in terms of hypercars, who's going to win that one?
The hypercars?
Yes.
My pick for the hypercars, I'm going with experience because you do need experience. My pick is the number 36 Alpine Elf Mammoth entry, driven by Andre Negro, Nicolas Lapierre, and Mathieu Vaxivière. The number 36.
I'm going to be very biased when I say this.
Oh, I think I know. Is it Glickenhaus?
Yes, it's Glickenhaus.
I was
the number 709. I know it's going to be a long shot, but I want to see Glickenhaus win on debut with Ryan Briscoe, Romain Dumas, and Richard Westbrook.
We'll see.
I mean, they're fresh out of the Nürburgring. Let's see how they fare out.
But I just realized, I know the people watching in the States, they only get first hour of the race and the last on TV again.
Higher seats adjusted. Try it.
And Motor Trend's like, nope, we don't care. they just like to put random programming just in the middle.
How to change your tire for the next 3 hours, and then it's back to the race.
LMP2, there's 11 entries.
And remember, just like the European Le Mans Series, there is a Pro-Am trophy that goes with the highest LMP2 honor car in that category.
Yeah, there is 5 of them.
Let's just look at all of them, in the basket and see who's going to take this category.
I got mine.
Sure.
My pick's the number 28 Jota Sport Oreca 07 Gibson, driven by Sean Glisle, Stoffel Van Dorn, and Tom Blomqvist. I feel like they're gonna do it because they have experience with running in these cars.
All right, I'm gonna go with. This is gonna be interesting,
What?
but I believe
Oh, jeez.
the number 21 Dragon Speed
Okay.
entry of Hendrick Hedman, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Ben Hanley will be the
Okay.
perfect combination needed to win this race. And of course, with that, there'll be the Pro-Am trophy along with it. Now, you didn't pick a Pro-Am car.
Oh,
What would be your Pro-Am trophy?
my Pro-Am trophy would be the number 29 Racing Team Netherlands Oreca 07 Gibson, driven by Fritz van Aert, Guido Vendegaard, and John Vet Utrecht in the 29.
Yep, that would make sense because the Racing Team Netherlands has been very good lately. And last but not least, before we go into the GT classes, what class will take the overall win? Hypercar or LMP2? Because we've seen it was close last time.
Yeah, but I say hypercar. It's just
Yeah,
because, because I feel like they're going to have more pace possibly at Portimao than the LMP2s because it's the first time there, so we don't know. There's no stats to look at Portimao.
Right, but also then again, it's much
Fine.
easier to see 4 cars retire than 11 cars retire. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, if 11 retire, that's just interesting on its own. It's not Talladega. They're not.
Nope.
But
all right, LMGT Pro, we have 4 cars, 2 teams,
2 Ferraris and 2 Porsches. Okay.
The Ferraris come with 2 drivers. The Porsches bring 3 on each car.
My pick is the number 91 Porsche GT team, driven by Gian Maria Bruni, Richard Leitz, and Frederick Makowicki. I'm picking experience. You need experience to run these longer races.
Yeah, and speaking of experience, I'm going to take another Porsche. The car, number 92 Porsche GT team with Kevin Estra, Neil Johnny, and Michael Christensen. By the way, Christensen and Estra are coming out of a Nürburgring 24 hours win.
Yep. So
why not? You got the momentum. Bring it along while you have it.
Yeah. And then there's the biggest class, the GT AM class with 13 entries.
Most of these cars are private tier customer teams.
Yeah.
Some are still factory programs. So let's take a look at what we have here. Justin, who would you put as your best bet for the LMGT AM class?
Okay, I got my pick. My pick is the number 77 Dempsey Proton Racing Porsche 911, driven by Christian Reed, Jackson Evans, and Matt Campbell. I've seen them this season. They've been really stellar. They were good at Spa. I feel like they can carry their momentum from Spa and bring it to Portimao and do really well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, so my pick, these guys have been very good in the European Le Mans Series, and that's going to continue on into this level here. I have Iron Lynx, number 60, Ferrari 488 GT Evo with Claudio Schiavone, Andrea Piccini, and Matteo Cressoni, who was part of that winning roster for this past weekend's 4 Hours of La Castella, taking the win.
Okay.
So I think that's pretty much it for prototype or all the LMP, all the Le Mans and racing, all that stuff. Yeah, I'm losing my marbles. I'm getting tired. But yeah, I think.
Yeah, we got basically that's the major events of this week. It's not like last week.
Yeah, last week was the whole Indy 500 weekend and everything in between. So we had the biggest race with the Nürburgring 24 hours next week.
Yeah.
But the All-Star race, and it's going to be good. Yeah. We got some good racing coming up.
Yeah, and 8 hours, Portimao. It's going to be interesting. A sprint race at Detroit for IMSA. doubleheader for IndyCar. The trucks in Xfinity back at Texas. Tanner Berryhill's in the Xfinity race, so we'll see if he brings out cautions again. He did bring out a caution when he made his start. I don't remember what track. He made a start earlier this year, and he didn't bring out any cautions, but you never know about Texas. But
I can't wait to see what an all-star race is going to look like at Texas. Must be a lot
oh,
of people saying, "Oh, Texas."
Boston scored. It's 5-4.
This game's going to get good. I think I want to watch the rest of it. What do you say, Justin? It's good time to end this podcast.
Yep.
All right. Thank you all for watching. For Daniel Ford and Justin Hebert, I am Joseph Laney Palmon signing off.